What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are back with career mode, this time for the Japanese Grand Prix, jumping straight into things with Friday practice. Everything went swimmingly, and yeah, with the new increased aero for this car, things are looking pretty good. The car feels really well balanced. Now, heading into this episode, we got another sponsor bonus. It happened right at the end of the last episode in Malaysia. We got the 750 points boost, and we actually upgraded the rear downforce, but it won't come into effect for this race because technically in the end of the last episode it was still the start of the Japanese Grand Prix, so that'll come at the end of the next episode. But with the amount of points we have right now, I think it's 530 odd, we might be able to see another, downforce upgrade at some point in this episode as well. So like I said, if we can get another 700 resource points, then we will be upgrading the drag, and that might come either after qualifying or maybe even after the race. But yeah, either way, we are going to have a pretty big flurry of points coming in now. But as you can see here, qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix, I can tell you now, we're probably going to be starting towards the back. That's because we took our 7th power unit full of components, and we also took a gearbox very early on in the cycle. So it's our final gearbox of the season. So because of that, I thought we'd kind of sacrifice this race weekend, start from last or wherever it is on the grid, and see if we can climb our way back into the points. This is going to be the first time we start from the back ever since we've got the ultimate engine upgrade, I believe, and even with the performance upgrades we have, it's going to be interesting to see how much progress we can make through the field. But as you can see there, we actually got out of Q1. That was my goal for this session, and if I got anything more than that, then that would just be a bonus. So here I was just setting laps and seeing where I could put myself. The one flying lap put me in P4, provisionally, 8 tenths away from the pace of Lewis Hamilton. But as the session got on, more people improved their times, and somehow the banker time we set was good enough to get us into Q3, and I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest, because now we're forced to start on the super soft tyres. We will be starting from the back as well, and I did another quick run in Q3 because I got a brand new set of super soft tyres that you don't have to use for the rest of the weekend. So I thought, why not? Let's have another go. And again, it puts us in 8th place for the grid. So with all that, with the awesome qualifying, we got a big haul of resource points, over 700 now. So like I said, we're going to be upgrading the downforce once again, this time for drag reduction. So heading into the next race in Kota, I think it is, we're going to have 2 downforce upgrades heading our way, and hopefully that can give us quite a sizable performance boost. So yeah, things are looking pretty good in the next episode, but that's quali.
A tough race in store then for our drivers today, so tell me, Anthony Davidson, what will you be looking out for as the cars make their way down into turn 1?
Well, first of all, let's hope that everyone's well behaved and we can have a nice incident-free start. That initial release is going to be the most interesting thing, and the clean side of the grid will be better rubbered in, so keep an eye out for cars over there potentially making their way through.
Valtteri Bottas and Marcus Ericsson, Alonso and a McLaren rounds off the grid.
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
Well, that's not the kind of results we wanted to see for the starting grid of this race, but welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix, guys. As you can see, we have a McLaren back row start for this Japanese Grand Prix. Not the way you want to be showing off your team to the engine supplier's home race, but we got Valtteri Bottas joining us back here, so hopefully we can follow him through the field and he can punch his way through, and we can just make the most of whatever progress he makes. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting race. Fernando's going to go nowhere. We know that, lack of straight line speed, and he's on the mediums. For the most part, a lot of people around us are on the mediums as well, so we could be quite punchy at the start of this Grand Prix, so we'll have to wait and see though. 5 red lights. And is it ever going to go out? Yes, it finally goes out. Away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix. Lightning start, it must be said. That Saba went nowhere. We jump him and Alonso basically before we get up into 5th gear though, so pretty nice start. A few people in the midfield are getting tangled up together. Palmer and Sainz obviously not happy about exchanging seats halfway through the season, but they managed to sort themselves out, and we settle into 18th place. So oh, hang on, we're going around the outside of Bottas and the Williams, so I was just hoping to follow Bottas through, but yeah, all those guys are going really slow. I took an alternative line, and yeah, found some I don't know, clear air, and the downforce worked, and bam, P16. Make that 15th now as we got the inside of Pascal Wehrlein into the hairpin. I squeezed him a little bit there. Probably should have left a bit more space, but we'll know for next time to be a little bit more courteous. But you can see Bottas off in the background overtaking one of the Williams. We dive up the inside, Jolie and Palmer, I think it is, and that's us up in a 14th place. So a very nice start so far. Obviously the super soft tyre is working really well in this opening phase of this Grand Prix, especially with everyone else on mediums and Bottas on the softs. It's really just going to be a charge for us to see how far up the order we can get. Bottas very risque around the outside of turn 1 there, a little bit off track, but I think the stewards, you know, should be pretty kind to him there. He essentially got the move done anyway. It was just a slight mistake at that corner, but yeah, he moves his way into 15th place, and it's going to be a nice battle, hopefully, between us and the Flying Finn. But we move on to lap 2 now. Kvyat is up next, and if he goes a little bit slow, like I think he will, then we should be able to get him too, and that is us up into lucky number 13th place here. So yeah, really good start. We're not really letting the leaders get away too much either. I mean, there's a little bit of a break from the top 7, but for the most part, the midfield is still within touching distance here. So things are looking really, really awesome here in this race. I think we will be doing a 2-stop today. I'm not too sure how viable the 1-stop is, especially since we are starting on the supers. I think we're going to have to rule out the 1-stop. If we started on the mediums or the softs, I think then the 1-stop would have been possible, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. We could get a safety car or two, especially with the amount of action we're getting right now up the inside of Sainz, and that is us up in a P12. Nice move so far in this Grand Prix. It's nice and refreshing to be able to overtake cars for once, and this is a lot of fun, it must be said. Again, really close to Sainz as we go into the spoon curve. One thing that must be said so far is I'm not really feeling the effects of dirty air, and I don't know why, because yeah, we're really entrenched in the, you know, rear wing of other cars, and we don't get that same slide or push that we do when we race online. But it's a little bit weird. But we go side by side with Bottas, got a really bad run out of the spoon curve, and we made contact at 130R at 200 kilometers an hour, which is, you know, exactly what you want to see. We'll get a replay up of that. You can see him on the inside. Bottas didn't want to let this go, and he kind of understeered a little bit wide into my line, and the contact was made. Thankfully enough, though, we both managed to carry on. Bottas has to surrender at the final corner because it's not his corner. He didn't have the car alongside enough to command that track position. But again, Bottas dives to the inside through turn 1, overshoots the corner just like he did to someone else, but I was a bit more wise to that. I knew he was going to do that, so I made sure I tucked in quite nicely for turn 2 and got the spot back. So really aggressive, you know, opening lap here, or opening few laps to this Japanese Grand Prix. Here's the replay again. Up the inside of Bottas, a bit of contact was made, and job done. He tried to force his nose up the inside into turn 2, or turn 3 there, but again, he wasn't, you know, far up alongside to warrant that space. So we managed to hold on for now, and it's 13th place. I thought we were up to P12. Did we lose a spot to Sainz? I can't remember. I genuinely can't remember now, but that's a little bit odd. Again, we carry on to the end of that lap, and Bottas coming back at us again with a really nice exit off of the spoon curve, and no, he doesn't manage to get us then. No, I think I remember. I was trying to pass Sainz. I got a bad exit out of spoon curve, and then we got put under pressure by Bottas again. That's how we've ended up in this predicament. But Sainz again, the AI is showing to be fairly weak at turn 1, and we make the most of that into P12. Hopefully Sainz can hold his ground though and keep Bottas at bay for a lap or two and allow me to get away. Now as well, looking at the power unit, we've gone really well. We've had to put in a slightly older power unit. I think it's mostly components 5 and 6, and they're all nearing the end of their useful life, all 40, 50%. The ICE is going to be over 50%, the MGUK is going to be over 50%, so we may lose rich mixture, and we're going to lose a bit of performance halfway through the race once the ICE goes over 50%. So this is going to be a tough old Grand Prix, and I thought, you know, we're probably best off to chuck in a slightly older power unit for this race because we are starting so far down the order, and it is pretty tough to overtake here, so I thought I'd just, you know, kind of get this race out of the way, and if I can come away with a few points, then that would be a major success. But again, you can see us making moves. We got really close to Grosjean at the final chicane, got a nice exit there, and just punched off the final corner, and now we're in 8th place as a few people in the top 5 started to make their stops. So yeah, things are looking pretty good. We've now got some clean air for the first time this race, and unfortunately it's come at the end of the stint. We had a bad run through there. took a gear too high through the spoon curve, and that was, you know, not the most ideal way to run through there. But yeah, just a shame that as soon as I got track position, as soon as I got the clear air, I'd seen the best of my tyres and it was time to come in. So we're going to dive in now at the end of lap 9, putting on the medium tyres, and we will run these to the end of the race. I think we might rejoin in last here. It's going to be close between us and Bottas. We got the undercut and stopped on the last lap, so he does rejoin in front of us. But he's opted for the soft compound tyres again, so that tells me he's doing a 2-stop today, and we won't really have to worry about him too much as long as we can stay close to him until he makes his pit stop. But here he goes, a few seconds up the road, he gets up the inside of Alonso at 130R, and he also dispatched to Marcus Ericsson pretty quickly. But as you can tell, as you can see right now, Fernando, you know, as we expected, was not gonna find it too easy making his way through the order. He's effectively P19 and still can't even overtake a Sauber. We're much better than Sauber, and he still can't overtake those guys. It's just so sad. We got the inside. We're going to put him out of his misery here. He's putting up a little bit of a fight as well, it must be said, as we run through side by side through the middle sector. Job done. And Fernando, yeah, I mean, what a miserable season he's having. Only one singular point. He sees me winning 2 races so far this season, a couple of podiums as well, getting all the upgrades, and he's just got nothing to show for his season so far. But we fly past Ericsson as well, 18th place. Important for us to make these moves early and just get that clear air, which we do have now. Bottas has encountered some traffic, and he'll be getting held up quite a bit in these next few laps. We have Felipe Massa spun out at 130R as well. He tried to make a move on Jolyon Palmer here, but he wasn't quite alongside, and he touches Jolyon's left rear tyre, unsettles the front of the car, and he went for a little bit of a trip through the escape road and just the exit road there that you have at the exit of 130R. But we carry on with the rest of our race, halfway through now, and yeah, it looks like the 1-stop is probably going to be on the cards if I haven't mentioned that already. But yeah, still just trying to close in on Bottas. He's closed in on the next group of cars. This is the Renault and I believe the Williams as well. So the more those guys battle, the more it's going to hold up Bottas, and the easier it's going to be for us to climb onto the back of those guys. But with that Williams, it's such a bus. It's fast in a straight line. It's got nothing in the corners. It's just the perfect candidate that you want to hold up some faster cars, because really the overtaking zones are pretty much on the straight for the AI. But we get a super exit through the final chicane, and we absolutely smash past Bottas as one of the Williams decided to pit, and that allowed us to get up in front of him. But didn't last too long. Bottas gets us once again, and yeah, he's free now in 10th place. So we're going to go to the outside into the final chicane and try and attempt to move. Bottas trying to go defensive, pinch on the inside through the final chicane, a little too much, and we get the spot back. This is turning into a really, really awesome scrap for, I don't even know what effective position this is. It might be P5, P6, P7, something like that. We squeeze him to the inside, and he only just narrowly gets through. Can we get him around the outside into the first corner? Of course not. We go slowing through the first couple of corners, tried to do the switchback like we did earlier. Didn't quite work out there, and Bottas gets away. But literally, that battle for Bottas, that victory of his, didn't last too long. Stopped at the end of the next lap, and that was our battle essentially over now. So we now have Daniel Ricciardo, who has recently just come out of the pits on super soft tyres. He's going to be incredibly tough to keep behind us as we make contact at 130R, 300 kilometers an hour through there, just casually. He locks up through the final chicane and gives us the spot back once again. This race is just mad. It's been on another level just for aggression and just the way that we've been fighting the AI. There's been lots of contact, but I've got to say that the racing, yes, it hasn't been the cleanest, but it's by far been the most exciting. Just a really unfortunate lockup for Ricciardo, and that's a horrible mistake. So much time lost there. I'm not too sure if that was down to me there, but either way, I will take that free position with 7 laps to go. So we might see a few more people coming into the pits as well, the likes of Ocon, 1 or 2 others. I think Perez still needs to make another stop as well, and they might be doing that fairly shortly. Again, Ricciardo in the slipstream, looking left, looking right as we go through 130R. There's contact, and oh no, we just kept it off the wall there, but there was heavy contact, and we got sent into a massive spin there. Ricciardo, I'm not too sure if he got damage or if he collected us back on the way through. This is his on board. I'm not too sure what to make of that, to be honest, because he was diving left and right. I was moving my line as well, and I think it was probably I don't know, a little bit my fault, but that, you know, Ricciardo isn't entirely innocent in this either. I just turned in, I had the corner, and I was going flat out, but Ricciardo was still there, and the contact was made. Sent us into a bit of a, is that a jackknife, the way that you spin on the side there? But yeah, you can see Ricciardo, he does collect us in the end there, lost half of his front wing, and with that amount of damage, I think he might be pitting at the end of this lap. So unfortunate to see that battle come to an end like that, and for us, lost a whole heap load of time as well. I think we lost a spot to Romain Grosjean, and with the guys who are recently just about to pit, we might lose out to those guys as well. So not a great lap for us there. We lost 12 seconds, and that's huge because Sergio Perez just came out of the pits. I think Ocon will be stopping fairly soon as well. So yeah, just not the way that we wanted this race to go. We were looking so good for, what, P5? Given the 3 spots that we've just lost effectively. Yeah, it could have been P4, P5, something like that. And now we're losing out to Jolie and Palmer as well. So, yeah, it's just a race of what could have been. But it's still not over yet. We're still fighting away with Palmer. We tried to do the switchback there through the middle of 130R. Massive oversteer, might I add, because we got more front downforce than rear downforce due to the upgrades. And we managed to get him back on the switch back up the inside into the final chicane. We get the position, and then we make the mistake at the following corner, and we allow Jolien to go right up our inside there, just like we did to Bottas. It's funny how we've just gone full circle. The AI making mistakes, and I made the same mistake, and yeah, it's pretty insane. The amount of racing, the amount of like stuff that has gone down in this Japanese Grand Prix. It might not be for the, you know, the World Championship. It might not be for a win or even a podium, but this 8th place has been hotly contested so far in this race, and it's really awesome to see. This is on the levels of an online race, the amount of fighting that is going on right now, and it still continues here to the penultimate lap. Jolien in the slipstream. I go defensive into turn 1. This is the way you defend into turn 1. There's no way the AI can find a way around the outside, and we hold on to that position through there. So we'll be heading on to the final lap now. It'll be crucial for us to get a nice exit here, which we managed to do. Short shift up into 4th. Reduces the wheel spin, straight up into rich revs, and the best way to take this straight is probably to go to the inside, just to break the slipstream. He will have DRS, stay to the inside as well as we go through turn 1, and there's no way he can get us unless we make a mistake like that on the curving. I can't believe I've done that. I've done all the hard work for the last half a lap, and then I do that, allow him to go around the outside. But he doesn't quite get the move done though. It was very close through the S's, but we do hold on. Again, like, look at this. I can't believe I did it again. Another tiny mistake, a half bottle there. We lost the back end as well, right into Jolie and Palmer, but somehow we managed to survive and keep it in a straight line for both of us. Once again, just a little too eager on the throttle. The tyres were well past their best. I think they're well past 50 or 60%. You can see there, they're at 72% on the rear tyres, so not too far away from puncture territory. That is how far gone they are. And especially as well with the high-speed spin we had with Ricciardo, that definitely didn't help out the tyres in any way, shape or form. And again, final lap here. This is Jolien going around the outside at 130R. 2 corners to go. Hopefully we can get him back, maybe inside, outside. No, it's going to be the inside for the final chicane. And Jolien has the track position for the final corner. We go around the outside through the final chicane, but with the tyres as far gone as what they were, there was no way we would have got that position back. We lost the front wing as well across the line. And that has been the Japanese Grand Prix. The hardest fought, 9th place you will ever see on an F1 game.
Well, this is it. This is where they all want to be. Here come the top 3 then, out onto the podium after a fascinating Grand Prix.
So there we go, guys. That has been this race. That was, I'd arguably say probably the best race so far of the season, just for pure racing and battles. There was so much going on there. The AI were aggressive as hell. I mean, like, it made for some awesome racing, and I was probably a little bit dirty here or there. Probably could have left space a little bit. I'm not too sure if I was in a bad mood or something like that, whether I was pissed off. But yeah, that made for some pretty intense battles there. Unfortunate to make contact with Ricciardo and just kind of spoiled both of our races there. That could have been a potential top 5 for both of us. It's just a shame that it took so much life out of the tyres, we lost so much time, and we had nothing really to fight with at the end there. And with that, we dropped to 6th in the driver's standings. Max Verstappen, who we recently overtook in the last episode, has got the jump on us once again by a singular point. So, yeah, that's how tight it is in the championship. One slip up and we've lost positions both on the drivers and the constructors. Force India, after their newly updated car, have mounted a challenge towards us now for the top 4. So, I really need to up my game. Fernando needs to step up as well because we've got a really tough fight with Force India, who are essentially like a mini Red Bull now. They're that quick. So, we really need to get back on the point scoring grind, hopefully get some top 5s and just make sure that I can single-handedly beat both the Force Indias, because I know how rare it is for Fernando to get a points finish. He only did it in the last episode, but yeah, there we go. That's been this episode for today. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Look at the team approval. It's a little bit ridiculous because the expectation of the team is so low because the performance isn't quite there. It's not really balanced. It's something that needs to be looked at for future, F1 games. The kind of expectation and the way that the performance chart is, it takes into account efficiency, not straight up performance. It says the McLaren is the second slowest car, but in theory, it's really not. We're kind of like 5th best car, maybe somewhere like that. I'd say we're just behind Force India and ahead of like Williams, Toro Rosso, Renault, those kind of guys. But with Fernando's poor performances, he's not really doing the car justice right now. But yeah, as you can see, we're going to switch back to all the old power unit components, and we'll hopefully get through Coda as well with the 6th power unit, and hopefully just squeeze through there. And then when we get to Mexico, when we need that straight line speed, we'll chuck on the brand new power unit, and that should be able to take us through to the end of the season. So that's it for today. In the next one, we will have 2 pretty sizable upgrades coming in the way of downforce, drag reduction, and the rear wing. So hopefully we can have a pretty damn competitive car at Coda. So we'll have to wait and see. But guys, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.